Hey, we're live, we're back. Happy hump day. Yeah, some changes around here, but I got a cool topic today because I had a couple of conversations with someone and it's been a back and forth periodic in actually DMs in Slack and someone I'm in a shared community with, and I'm in a much bigger community, and it's come up a couple times where I think I just this year passed my 5th year anniversary for running Resonant Pixel. So congrats to me. I don't know. It doesn't feel like that much of a milestone, maybe because it's still a tremendous grind. But I want to talk about the mindset shift because there's a change that happens, and it took me a while to get there as a business owner. To really start to own, not just understand and feel and become comfortable in the difference in having a 9 to 5 and owning the business. It took a while for it to feel natural for me. And I think that's not terribly uncommon based on a couple of conversations that I've had with this one individual. And I made a note, and I track these episodes in Apple Notes, these ideas in OneNote. And as they start to expand, and I'll be in the grocery and I'll stop and type in something to say, oh, you know what I should add when it comes to that one idea, boom, 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 boom. Or if I just have an idea, I put it in there. And this one, I've got a mountain of notes and subtopics, and I've got them here in front of me. I've put a lot of thought into this because I think there's a gentle way to do this and a not so gentle way to do this. And there are no shortage of YouTube videos talking about this topic from people who have been doing it longer, made more money than I have, they have more followers. So who the hell am I to talk about this? Well, all I can talk about is my experience. And there's really 3 things I had to get comfortable with when it comes to the mindset shift. So I want to talk about the mindset shift. I want to talk about some strategies for transition and how I handled those, and then some of the psychological aspects of it, which I don't know we ever really get perfect at, but hopefully I have some practical tips that will help you get through it. Listen, last night I woke up at 2:30 in the morning, had a work idea, could not get back to sleep. So I got up and I got to work, and it's 11 a.m. I took a quick nap around 6:30, 7, and that felt great. But some days I'm sitting here running on fumes because it's not just the ideation and the excitement to get to things that I'm really super excited, I guess is the word, to get done. There's also sometimes it's stress. It's, oh my gosh, if this doesn't happen, then these things don't happen. And it's really easy to say words like compartmentalize, or, don't take the highs too high, don't take the lows too low, which is something I've said a million times. Easier said than done. I'm only human. So the first mindset shift I've noticed in myself, and I recommend others to first stop and embrace uncertainty. With a 9 to 5, there's a lot of certainty. Excuse me. When you show up, largely who's going to be there, who's going to be in your grill, who's going to save your bacon. That stuff is really known. When it's me, myself, and I, or me and a small team, that isn't as consistent and isn't always known. So expecting it and embracing it, factor it into your time blocking, whatever you've got to do. That has worked for me. Not completely blocking myself. It's what's it called, the 4/5 method or 4/5 rule, where I only allow my time to be booked up like 4/5 of the way through. There has to be some play in there. And if that means booking lunch, book yourself a lunch, whatever it is. Book yourself your coffee breaks or smoke breaks or, whatever it is. Book it so that it's there for you, and you can use that either to step away or to work with overflow or to handle something that's on fire. Fire drills become really difficult. And I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. Fire drills become really difficult when they're multiple or they're squeezed into a time frame where they don't fit. That moves other blocks, and that's more uncomfortable conversations that need to be had. So move from the idea of that. Number 2, I guess, would be moving from the idea of stability into flexibility. The upside is this isn't someone else's process. This is our process. This is your process. You can build it however you want. So embrace that. When you have a 9 to 5, you got a jobby job. It's the company's process. Someone else decided what tools or apps you use. Somebody else decides who gets communicated and who gets CC'd based on what someone else wrote the SOPs. You get to write the SOPs when it's your show. And the benefit of that is if you don't like it, you can change it. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm going through a really difficult transition in the operations of my business right now. And I've talked a lot of smack about a particular application that I've used for 5 years now since the get. And I'm sunsetting that bad boy because it's really not serving people, and it's not serving the business as well as I think it needs to be served. And it's not the application's fault. It's just people, and that's fine. The third one in a mindset shift would be moving where we place risk versus reward. I'm actually a really low risk tolerant person. I am not someone who's going to go to the casino and make big bets. I'm going to go to the casino and put a coin in the machine and say, well, I didn't win. I'm done. I am not highly risk averse. So having an idea of where rewards and risks lie, and I'm not saying chart it out, I certainly don't, but I have made it a habit to understand which risks are calculated and get more comfortable with those. And I've also gotten a habit of having the thought process, not so much assuming that certain things will go right, though experience creates patterns which can inform where we place the risk reward sort of needle on the record here. Sorry, that was a really bad analogy. That was a bad one. My apologize. Just put thought into it. That's largely what I do before I hit send. I often think risk reward. What are we looking at here? What are the odds of this? What are the odds of that? Holy cow, the sun just came out and blasted me. It's beautiful. It's the sun. I'm not going to complain. It does make the light vary in here, and people be like, hey, you need a real studio. Whatever, kid. The psychological aspects, hey, we're live. You're going to get those. I'm not editing it out. I'm not editing anything out. The psychological aspects of running a business versus having a jobby job are very different. So I think a lot of people go full-time to freelance or full-time to founder. Their biggest fear is often failure. And the most interesting twist on that is that once you have several clients or customers or consultations, whatever you do, that's actually virtually impossible. When you have a jobby job, you could be laid off tomorrow. That's it. It's done. You went from income to zero income. When you own the business and you have several clients, customers, consulting, whatevers, that's literally impossible unless you've made a catastrophic mistake. Having a full-time job that is your company, it's impossible to go to zero revenue tomorrow. If you have a jobby job, you go to zero revenue tomorrow. Unbeknownst to you, you don't get a say in the matter. So I would argue that having a full-time job is higher risk to you and yours than being a founder. So think about that. I have absolutely seen this experience. We've lost a few clients over the years. I'm not perfect. And we're still here because it's a few $100, it's a few $1,000. It's not great. It doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel great to let somebody down. It doesn't feel great even when it is nobody's fault. It just, the fit wasn't there. Their business went under. There are tons of reasons why you lose clients. And the thing is, it doesn't hit the bottom line the way getting laid off from a job does. So the next one, psychological aspect I want to chat about is, I guess I'll call this the power of persistence. My note just says persistence. I think that having the resilience and the discipline to sit here every day, and I'm going to get into practical tips in a minute, is to show up. And if that means you get dressed in real clothes instead of wearing pajamas because it changes your mindset, do it. Wear good shoes, even though you're not leaving the house. If it is wearing, fuzzy bunny slippers and gym shorts and a decent shirt, whatever it is, feel the way you need to feel to show up every single day and put in the work. Because as an entrepreneur, success doesn't come from magic. It comes from persistence. It comes from showing up, putting in the work, doing the small things. So I got a bunch more on that in some tips coming up. And then the next thing I'll say is find your own way. There are lots of people out there with advice, and I'm not going to go give this advice. I'm kind of allergic to the idea and telling you how you should run your business. Look, if it's one system from a project management standpoint, or if it's another one, whatever. Find your way. Find what works for you. You don't have to build a business based on how somebody else does business. You can do what it is you want to do as long as you can find the people who really need that work. Or they can find you. Hello, YouTube. So if your motivations are just wanting to be self-employed, that's probably not enough. But if you are able to find a niche, serve that niche really well, and build systems that create consistency in the experience of interacting with you, you've pretty much done the hard work. Now you have to deliver and consistently do the things that help contribute to the business. So practical tips, and I said I got a bunch of these, and I probably do. I've got 3 here, and I can already think of 5 off the top of my head. And somebody popped in here. Hey, thanks. That was really awesome. They're gone now. I don't know what I said to upset them, but I think some people pop in because this shows up in some list in YouTube, like current live shows or something. I've never seen it, but people pop in and out a lot, which is interesting. All right. Set realistic goals. I know it's great I want 5 new customers a month. Fine, but keep in mind, that's arbitrary. I don't like setting arbitrary goals. I don't like setting numeric goals. I'm more of a directional forces guy. Like, this is what I want to. This is where I want to go. These are the things I'm going to make to get to the things that will get me there. I've had enough jobs and been in leadership roles to see people miss goals all the time. I've never been passionate about goals. I've never been passionate in a one-on-one 360 review at work when I had a job. If it wasn't my goal. Actually, I was never passionate about it unless I was pissed off and I hated my boss. Then I was like, if I was mad at the company, then I would be passionate. But that's defensiveness. In reality, realistic goals are probably not numerical. So I know people like OKRs and objectives and KPIs, and sure, you can set whatever numbers you want. But I don't recommend lying to one's self about getting there or that it's achievable. Because if you don't know what you need to create for that to become achievable, then that's the hard part. And that's what I mentioned, the power of persistence a minute ago, showing up every day and putting in the work. Well, that means really granular tasks. I'm going live on YouTube 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 a.m. Because I know how many conversations I need to have a certain number of sales and add new customers and clients to achieve my revenue goals. But I'm not saying my goal is X revenue. I'm saying if I show up every day and do the thing, then that will generate the next thing. And if I generate enough of those, it will generate the next thing, because I've seen how this snowballs and I've seen the process play out. I don't have revenue goals. I mean, I have a revenue I have an idea of where I need to be to do certain things for the business, but those aren't goals. Those are milestones, and it's a big difference. Next one I'll say is time management. I've talked in here so much about time blocking. I've held up I think last show on Monday, I held up the book. I'm pointing to it. You can't even see it. Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. There are tons of other books. You can open up Eat That Frog. You can go with any time management book, anything. I know I said don't use other people's systems, but they're a good starting point. You learn more about how you get things done, and then you can customize the system and make it your own. But time management is critical. If you have any struggles at all to get things done, or if you feel like you don't have enough time boxing is a really great method to get out of that. And I know it sounds weird to shrink the amount of time in which you could do sales and fulfillment and calls and whatever, but I have seen that when I time block an hour a day to do this task, an hour a day to do that task, I get more of those tasks done, because focus time is more productive for me than is just constant context switching. It's a absolute mind job to do that. And time blocking was a game changer, big time. Now I'm a big fan of time management and tagging and all that nerdy crap. I will say, I know that wasn't a great thing to say. I'm sorry. I flew off the handle there. Forgive me. Self-care is the next one. I got a terrible night of sleep last night. I'm probably going to feel it this afternoon. Here we are. But show up anyway. Do the work. See, I know my voice isn't even in tip-top shape. And we're live. So here we go. Self-care is critically important to mental health. So I try to manage junk food, dairy, drinking, and do things responsibly. I also, or in moderation, be reasonable, know your body, know how it works. I would argue exercise and diet are the number one contributors to your being consistent and having what the persistence required to run a business. You could show up hungover at a job, I'm sure, and plow through the tasks you need to plow through that day, do B work, and be just fine. When you run the company, it's really hard to be successful doing that. And if we're making a mindset shift here, that was a tongue twister. If we are making a mindset shift here, self-care is actually number one. But I didn't want to start the video with that. So these are the things that I think about, the things I've come to learn, and how I kind of have managed myself through the mindset shift. And look, it's an ongoing thing. This is an evergreen. You're never perfect at the mindset shift of going from being an FTE to an owner, or full-time to founder, full-time to freelance, whatever that looks like for you. But hopefully this helps you ideate that transition for you. I just wanted to pop in here and wrap on my list and see if maybe we could put something out here that's helpful. I don't know. Doing the work, baby. Just showing up, doing the work, because I care about you. and I care about where you're going. And I hope you have a really fantastic day. And the 20 minutes, man, this one ran long. I used to do 20 minutes back in January and February. And this was this is difficult to sustain. It's interesting. Topic has to be pretty meaty. I'm learning a lot doing this. I'm telling you, I'm learning a lot. And I think I'm getting better at it. So think about it. Think about the mindset shift. What works for you? And like it, subscribe, and comment. Leave me a comment, man. I replied to pretty much all of them except for the spammy ones. So yeah, all of them except for the spammy ones. So cool beans. All right, look, I will see you Friday. Another cool topic, another way to show up and work and do this, as we're all just doing this thing and we're doing it together. I don't know why I picked up my AirPods case. Oh, I'm punchy because I didn't get enough sleep last night. Talk about self-care. Whew. I think this is why we call it practicing. Enjoy the rest of your week. I hope you get a metric shit ton of things done. And I will see you here on Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern.